Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to learn the concept of OOPS in Python. So what is the full form of OOPS, which is Object Oriented Programming and System. So the entire OOPS concept is derived from two words, which is classes and the objects. So what is a class and what is the object? A class is a module which consists of methods and data. An object is anything that really exists in the world. So let's take a simple example to understand the classes and the objects. Suppose there is a building inside a city, so the building which is exists physically inside the world, so the building is the object. And now suppose you have a paper, and inside a paper there is a sketch of the building, so the paper is a blueprint of that building. So the paper is called a classes, which means that the paper consists all the modules, which is data and method, to build a building. So this is the class, which is a paper, and that's the object which is physically exist inside the world. So now let's take another example to understand the classes and object. So here we have two things. In left hand side we have a recipe to bake a cake, and in the left hand side we have some cakes. So as we know that a recipe is needed to bake a cake, so this recipe is called a class and the cake is called a object. So the main difference between the class and object here, which is a cake can be eaten when it is baked, which means that it actually exists in the world, but we can't eat a recipe. So when we bake the cake, which means that we create a object according to the class definition. Class definition means the ingredient and the method which exist inside the recipe. So here we correlate all the things with our classes and object. So simply we have a class which is a recipe and the object which is a cake. So as I already said that class consists of a data and a method. So inside the recipe we have some ingredients, and after that we have some methods. So the ingredients is a data and the method is a way to make the cake. So when we change something inside our classes, or we can say inside our recipe, then the object will also changes. So that's all about the classes and objects. So now let's move to the another topic where we can see how to make the classes and how to make the object in Python. Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to learn how to declare the classes and how to use the classes and objects. So here I just opened a Python script, and now I'm going to show you the syntax of class, or we can say how to write the classes. So here I just write CLASS class. So the class is a keyword. So when we declare a function we use def. So the def is a keyword. So same here we have a class which is a class keyword, and after the keyword I just write the name of the class, which is student. So the student is a name of the class. So generally the name of the class is started from the capital letter. So here I just write S in a capital. After that we just put a colon to get inside the class. So this is the way to declare a class. As we already know that inside a class we write attributes and methods, which means that we write some ingredients and the methods which is used to bake the cake. So in Python we cannot declare a variable. We have to write the variable inside a special method, that is init method. The init method is used to initialize a variable instantly. So now I'm going to initialize a init method. We can call it constructor also. So here I'm going to define a function which is init with double underscore. After that I'll put self, and after that I'll put colon to get inside the init method. So here I use self dot name, which is equal to Alex. So here we just create a variable which is the name of the student. So now I'm going to create a object which is used to call this all the methods. So now I'm going to create a object which is associated with the class student. So here I just write s1. After that I'll put equal to, and after the equal to I just write the name of the class, which is student. So here you can see the S1 is the object of this student class. So whatever we write inside the class, it just goes to the S1. So now here we just create a object S1, and now I'm going to print the name of this student, which is Alex, by using print function print s1 dot name. So now I'm going to run this module. So here we get the result, which is Alex. So now I'm going to explain you what is a self here. So self is a parameter, or we can say keyword, that represent the class itself. So here I'm going to explain you with another object, control C, command B. So here we can see we have two object, which is S1 and S2. So now I'm going to run this module again. So here we get the result Alex and Alex two times. So when we initialize a variable which is name with self, which means that it will work with the current object. So when this object is used, then S1 is worked for that, and when this object used, then it will work for the S2. So now I'm going to change this something like that, which is S1, and inside the self I'm going to pass S1 here. Here when we run this module, we get the result self is not defined. Sorry, here we have to write S1. So here we get the result, which is Alex. So here when we create a single object, so the object is passes inside the method when we use a single object. When we use a different object, which means that when we have more than one object for a single class, then we have to use a self keyword to reference the current object. So self is used to represent the current object. So as we know that every class have some action which is equal to method. So now I'm going to create a method here. So I just simply copy this. After that I'll put def, and now I'm going to call the name the method, which is walk. So every students have some action which is equal to walk, which means that every student can walk, run, etc. And inside the here I just write self here also. So here we just create a method inside a class, and now I'm going to print something, which is my name is Alex. So now I'm going to call the method by using the object s1 dot walk. So now I'm going to run this module. We get the result, which is equal to print is not defined. Sorry, I'll explain. Here we get the result, which is equal to my name is Alex. So this is the way to create a method inside a class, and this is the way to call this method using the object. And now I'm going to write here my name is self dot name. So this self dot name is a class variable, which means that we can use this self dot name anywhere inside this class. So now I'm going to run this module. We get the result my name is Alex. So this Alex is a self dot name. So now let's move with some other things, which is self name and class. Sorry, classes. I'm going to copy this self dot name. After that I'll put 3 times, which is self dot classes and self dot name, and here I just write classes and name. So when we pass a name here and when we pass a class here, it will refer to this self.classes and the self.name. So now I'm going to write here name, which is xyz, and class, which is 12. So now when we run this module, we don't get any error. And now I'm going to change this by using self.names. Sorry, we have to change this self names self.names. So when we run this module, we get the result, which is name is not defined. So names here. So here we get the result, which is my name is xyz. So xyz, which is equal to the self.names, and here I just print the classes. Now when you run this module, we get the result, my name is xyz, alex, and the 12. So here we can see when we passes a variable inside a class, then the constructor is instantly passed to this self.name and the self.classes itself. So this init method, or we can say constructor, is used to initialize a data inside our class. So this all the variables are used anywhere inside this class, which means that these are class variable, not a instance variable. So now let's change something here. I'm going to create another object which is equal to s2 s2.walk, and here I'm going to pass something which is yxz, and here I just write 18. So here we have a two different object, and inside the object we have four different values, which is xyz, 12, yxz, and 18. So when we run this module, this first object is passes to this initializer, which is names and classes by xyz and 12, and then it will print the value which is xyz and 12. And when we deal with second object, then yxz is passes to these names, and this 18 is passes to these classes. So self is used to initialize, or we can say assign the object itself, and now we get the result, which is equal to, so here we get the result lx, xyz, and the yxz. So we get the result different from the previous one because the two objects are used in two manners because of the self. So when we use a first object, the self is referred to that, and when we use a second object, then self is referred to this second object, which is equal to s2. So this is the way to use a self, and this is the way to create a class, object, and the method. So that's all about the classes and object in Python. Welcome to the Python tutorial. Today we are going to learn inheritance in Python, or we can say inheritance in OOPS. The word inheritance means acquiring property from other. So let's take example. So here you can see there is a parent and there is a son. So the son is inherited some property from their parent, which means that the parent is a base class and the son is a derived class. So when we derive something inside a base class, or we can say parent class, then the derived class can easily use the property from the base class. So the inheritance is used to acquire the property from the base class. So there are two types of inheritance. The first one is a single level inheritance, and the second one is a multi-level inheritance. So here you can see the child is inherited from a single base class, which means that the base class can be a father or a mother. So here we use a single level inheritance to acquire the property from the base class. So now what is a multi-level inheritance. Suppose we have a derived class which is a son, and the son is acquire property from a base class which is a father and a mother. So there is a two base class which is father and mother. So the son is acquire the property from the two base classes which is father and mother. So this is called a multi-level inheritance. So now let's take a simple example to understand a inheritance in Python. So here I just opened a Python script and now I'm going to implement a simple example. So here we have to write a class which is a keyword, and after that I'll write the name of the class which is father, and after that I'll put colon and get inside the class. And now I'm going to define a method which is last name, and inside the parenthesis I'm going to pass a self, and after that I'm going to print the value which is my surname. So here we have a parent class, or we can say base class, and inside the base class we have a method which is a last name. And now I'm going to create a child class, or we can say a derived class. So here I'm going to write class again. After that I'll write son, son, and I'm going to declare a method again which is first name. Inside the parenthesis I'll put self, after that I'll put colon to get inside the method. And now I'm going to simply print the values, or we can say print a string which is my first name. So here you can see there is a parent class, and after that there is a derived class. So now how Python knows this is a derived class and this is a parent class? So for that we have to write the name of the class from where we want to acquire the properties, or we can say the parent class. So father is a parent class. So here we have a class which is equal to father. And now I'm going to create a object which is s1. After that I'll write son, and now I'm going to call the method which is first name. So here we just call the method which is first name from the son, or we can say child class. Now when we run this module we get the result my first name. So now I'm going to acquire the property which is the last name. So here I just write s1 dot last name. So when I run this module we get the result which is equal to my first name and the surname. So this my first name is coming from the child class and this surname is coming from the parent class. So this is the way to create a parent class and a child class. So this is called a single level inheritance. And now I'm going to create another parent class to show the multi-level inheritance. So I just write. So here we have another class which is mother. So here we have three classes which is father, mother and son. So we have a two parent class which is father and mother. So here I just write my surname 2. And now I'm going to run this module again. We get the result which is my first name and a surname. And now I'm going to edit something inside our child class. And now I'm going to pass the mother class inside our child class by using the name of the class. So here I just write two classes which is a base class. And now I'm going to simply write s1 dot last name. I think I have to change the name of the method which is last name 1 and last name 1. So here when I run this module, we get the result which is my surname 2. So here you can see these two results are coming from the base classes, which is from father and this is from mother. So this is the way to create a multi-level inheritance in Python. You can add many things, like when I copy this and paste mother, grandmother, just pass this base class to the child class, and inside the I just write 3, and here I just write 3 here. And now I'm going to simply call this method by using the child class, which is last name 3. So when I run this module, we get the result which is my surname 3. So these 3 values are coming from the base class, and the first one is coming from the child class. So this is all about a inheritance in Python.